Stephanie Milky here, aka Keto Mom, or often called mom, sis, Steffi, daughter, wife, aunt, and friend. Just like many of you, I carry a lot of titles. My favorite title is mom. I should probably say wife, which takes a lot of my time. But let's be honest, if you want to do something and do it well, you will make the time for it. Commitment is hard because we find ourselves overcommitted, but when you practice prioritizing, you will find out what is actually important and what you can let go. With the Keto Mom podcast, you will learn together how to manage our time, commit to the most important things in life, and I will equip you with the tools you need to feel qualified each step of the way. My name is Stephanie Milky, and welcome to the Keto Mom Secrets podcast. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Keto Mom page. My name is Stephanie, and we're diving into Dream It, Pin It, Live It. I also shared yesterday about the book that I want to dive into in January. So there's a lot of fun things we're going to talk about. As you're tuning in, good morning. Where are you tuning in from? We're back in Minnesota. So we've been in Dallas for almost 2 weeks. Traveling. So we have been traveling, and we are home. It's cold, and we're home. So, all right. Good morning. Happy Monday if you're tuning in live. I would love to know, let's share something fun. Okay, this is fun. Are you done with your Christmas shopping? Are you almost done? Or have you not even got started? I asked that yesterday too, like in a fun visual. Like, are you a last minute shopper? Are you like, I was done last month? Or almost? Where are you at? I just like to ask fun questions in the morning. All right, so I labeled this live. I posted, so we went to a really incredible church that we've never been to before yesterday in I think it was Frisco, in Frisco, Texas, before we left. I love it, Heidi. Heidi's done with her shopping. I'm done too. So I labeled this, You Get What You Expect Out of Life. And so we're going to go through this book. I want to have, if you're open to it, there was a lot of people that said, hey, I want to do a Zoom with you and let's talk about vision boards, creating vision boards. You can ask questions. I'd love to see some of your faces. If you want to do the Zoom with me about Dream It, Pin It, Live It, talking about like a word for the year, setting goals, expectations, we're going to do it after Christmas. And so we'll do it within that last week before the new year. Here's my encouragement to you, is if you've been following along, I hope that you're doing the action steps. I hope that you've been writing out your goals. We're going to go through a little bit of this today, but I wanted to give you 2 things to think about before we do that. And the phrase that I labeled this was, you get what you expect out of life. So we went to the church called Elevate Life Church. The pastor's Pastor Keith Kraft, his son, Pastor Josh Kraft, spoke yesterday. Incredible. I know you can find it online. I know they share it on YouTube. They might have an actual website, an incredible, incredible message. And he said 2 things I wanted to share with you. I've already said it twice, but number 1 is you get what you expect out of life. So the question I have for you is, what are you expecting? Like when you get up in the morning, how do you expect your day to go? How do you expect work to go? How do you expect conversations or relationships? Like when you expect something, you look for that, and usually that's what you get, whether it's negative or positive. He also said it this way: what you expect determines what gets focused on, and what you focus on shapes your perspective. I'm going to say it one more time because I'm like, man, that's so good. I'm reading some of your comments. Mandy, 18 grandkids. You are blessed and highly favored. That is incredible. I am believing for that when I am a grandma someday. 18 plus grandkids. That is incredible. All right. What you expect determines what gets your focus, and what you focused, and what, I must have wrote it down funny. Hold on. What you expect determines what gets your focus, and what gets you focused on shapes your perspective. Like what you're focused on shapes your perspective. So I wanted to share those 2 things with you today. The message was incredible. I'll go in and find it and share it in my stories. So good. All right. Also, he said something that I say here often, because it's not my phrase. I heard it from Joseph McClendon III. So Joseph McClendon III, we call him JM3, says, as I think, so I feel, as I feel, so I do, as I do, so I have. Pastor Keith Kraft and Pastor Josh Kraft said this way. They say they call it the triad. It says, as you think, when you think, you be, you do, and then you have, right? As you think, you be, it creates an action, you do, and that's what you have. I promise you, if you focus on actually what you're thinking about, and you're like, okay, I'm setting goals for this next year. I'm going to expect greatness. I'm going to expect for me to stay on track. I'm going to expect whatever it is that you're wanting, a better marriage, better finances, better relationships with your kids, a better body, better health. I want you to expect it. I want you to think about it. I want you to focus on it in a positive aspect and not, it's always been this way, it will always be this way. We're going to change the way you're thinking so that not only do you have your goals written out, you have your word of the year, you have things you want to focus on, but your expectation is important. It's determining really your perspective and if what you're going to have at the end of next year. So with all of that, I would say write those down. They're really great phrases. All right. Not yesterday, the day before, Saturday morning, we talked about chapter 8 in this book, and I'm just going to give you some. It says, don't share big dreams with small minds. So I basically talked about be cautious or aware of who you're sharing your goals with, because not everybody will agree with you, nor do they want to see you succeed, which is a reality and sad. So just because somebody's close to me doesn't mean they have to know everything that you're dreaming for, right? Sometimes, well, I'm not going to say sometimes, actions speak louder than words. Your words seem super powerful, and your words are powerful. But when somebody is either, if you want your kids to follow you, your spouse, or people to, like, I'm going to do this, you actually need to do it. You don't have to always tell them. I want you to show them that you're going to go to the gym, that you are going to be healthy this year. You're going to make better choices. Like, you show them with the actions that you're actually doing. All right. So a couple things to think about as you are being cautious or aware of the people that you're speaking to. In the book. So if you have the book, I hope you're going through it. If you don't have the book, we've been talking about this on a live, and he says this. He goes, if you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, don't settle for average people. What would that say about you? Look for people who are focused and determined, cling to their enthusiasm for life, learn from their skill sets, allow them to push you to higher levels. And so what I love about this is they talk about who you're around. An action step is write out the 5 people, your closest friends, write out one quality you admire about them, and then write out their ambition level from 1 to 10. The people you hang around with, are they 1, like not striving for better, 10, like they're on fire, you're incredible, like you can do this with them, or like where are these people at? Do you need to find a couple more people who can push you to be the best version of you? Now, chapter 9 talks about what to do while you're waiting. And so I loved this because she says, listen, as you're waiting, you're creating your vision board. You have, you're writing down your goals. We're going to get your SMART goals written out if you haven't already done it. What you do while you're waiting patiently for these dreams and goals to manifest in your life. She says, how do you stay optimistic in spite of what doesn't seem to be happening? You focus on what? Focus on personal development. That's where reading, where mindset, where the people that you're with plays a huge part. Like, you've got your goals written out. You've got a vision board. Now what do I do? She's going to talk about writing affirmations, journaling every day, like looking at your vision board with the expectation it will come with work and consistently doing those actions. But what do we do when you're like day in and day out, like, okay, I'm looking at it, I'm believing for it, I'm doing those actions, and there is a time where you're like, now what do I do? Personal development, which I have been doing on this page for over a year, almost a year and a half, I think, of reading books, working on your mindset, like watching the things that you watch, like the music you listen to. All of those things play a factor in how this looks at life day in and day out, your perspective, which we just said this phrase, right? You get what you expect out of life. What are you expecting? What are you thinking about? It's super important. So we're going to continue to do books on this page all year. I actually already picked out the book for January. So I wanted to read one more thing too, because I thought it was super powerful. Let me find it real quick. The bottom line is this: if you want more, you must become more. Your life will only grow to the extent that you grow. If you don't like the size of your life, make an investment in you, and it's time to grow your dreams. She talks about maybe conferences or getting around other people, books. There was one thing I really wanted to read to you, and I have to figure out where it was at. Because oftentimes people will say, listen, I don't have people in my life that push me. I don't have somebody like within my proximity that I can go and meet with. And she said that exact thing. Where is it? Basically, she says this: if you don't have somebody within your proximity, let's say at work or in your friend group, you feel like you're not in an environment that you're like, okay, I hear what you're saying. You're saying to surround myself with great people, to surround myself with people that are focused and intentional. I don't know where they're at. She said, listen, the best way to do that while you are watching and because as soon as your RAS is activated, your reticular activating system, as soon as you have that, you're like, I'm focused on who are these people? And you start paying attention to the people around you, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, that person has a great marriage. I would love to ask them to mentor me in that. Or, oh my goodness, that mom already has graduated teenagers. She's an incredible lady. I want to learn from her and how to raise great teenagers, how to work through these years. Like you start seeing people that have what you want, and then those people become your mentors. And so just be watching. But until then, she said, you have books and podcasts. I mean, we have any type of podcast or any type of video at our fingertips. So think about the people that you're like, I would love to have that, or to be a person of like that, to have those characteristics, to have those values. That person's life is something that I'm like, I would strive to have. Those people are the ones you listen to online, you read their books, you might go to one of their conferences. Like those people are the people you're learning from, and those become like your mentors. They can be far off mentors, and it's completely fine. So we're going to keep going through this book, and we're going to, if you choose to, hop on a Zoom with me, and you can ask questions. We'll talk about, goal setting if you didn't do it already. But I would encourage you to not wait until January to start think about your goals. So, all right, if you have questions about this, post your questions below and I'll hop on. Here's the book that we're going to do for January. I posted it yesterday. It's Pastor Keith Craft's book. I think this is going to be an incredible way to start off the year. And so it's called Your Divine Fingerprint, the force that makes you unstoppable. And I'm like, we're going to start this next year with this book. So we're already setting goals. We're already getting focus so that this book, I was reading it in the airplane. He's the pastor of the church that we were just at in Frisco, Texas. If you live by there, you should go to the church. His son was amazing. He was amazing. His wife is incredible. We got to go to a Christmas party with him and his wife on Friday night. Man, they are surrounded by great people. I would say if you want to be around great people and you live in the Frisco, Dallas area, go to the church. So this is the book we're going to go to. And here's what we're going to do. Whether you just hop on lives and you listen to me as we go through the book, great. Take some notes. My hope is I'm not going to read the book to you, but I give you the highlights of the chapter. So I don't share all the stories. It is powerful to get the book. Or grab the book and join us starting in January. I will tell you, if you are in search of Christmas gifts for people, I truly believe the number one thing you can get people is a book or something that you're like, they might go, I haven't read a book since high school. And I would say, yeah, that's the problem. You haven't read a book since high school. I want you to grow as a person. I believe in you as a person. There's greatness inside of you. So therefore, I'm going to give you something to help bring that out in you. That is one of the best gifts you can give to people. Like, help them understand that they are worth it. The power of self-development, it really is important. So I think you should get everybody a book. And I could share a lot of books with you. Maybe I'll do that today. I share them here and there, but like, what would be some great gifts? I will do that. So we're doing this in January. If you've got questions about the Dream It, Pin It, Live It book, let me know. Otherwise, that is all for the morning. And the thought today was, you get what you expect out of life. What are you expecting out of your day? So my word for next year is build. It actually was build within. So I say that I have a date with Jesus every morning. Or like my date with God. So I'm like, I'm getting up earlier. I'm being intentional. I'm focusing on building within. There's a lot of goals that we have as a family. A lot of business goals, relationship goals, but I felt like the Lord said, build. And so it kind of became a phrase, build within. So I said, all right, Lord, I'm going to give you the beginning of my morning, which I try to, but I need to be more intentional. So my word is build, but the phrase is build within and expect greatness. Because as I build within, He is going to build without, whether that's in relationships or our finances or our business. That's me. That's my focus for this year. And the reason I tell people to have a word for the year is when you have a day where maybe it's not going the way that you expected, you get hit with something that you're like, I do not receive this. We have challenges, right? When you have those days, you have a word to anchor yourself into that year. What is the word that you're like, I am going to focus on this year? It's a word that you might pray about. Maybe you've been seeing this word a lot. Maybe you're like, I need to focus on self-development or trust, or maybe it's patience, or maybe it's self-worth. Maybe it's grace, giving people grace. I don't know what your word is, but I would encourage you to choose a word. It's going to be an anchor for your year. And it really does that. In those days where maybe I'm tired, or maybe I'm like, I'm not seeing the fruit that I'm wanting to see, I'm anchored back to go, nope, I know what I need to do. I need to build within and expect greatness. Build within and expect greatness. I'm going to build. Pick a verse, pick a phrase, pick something that goes with it. It really will like lead you into your year. So, all right, with that, ask any questions below. I hope you have an incredible morning. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.